everyone. Welcome back to Blurred Lines, Crime, Conspiracy, and the Truth Behind the Gossip. I'm Ash Too Trippy, your host here today. Welcome back. I'm excited to get started with you guys today. How y'all feeling? Now, first and foremost, I want to apologize to you guys for the delay. I had some computer issues, then I had some system issues, and then I had some recording issues. So there was some issues that I had, obviously, that I was able to iron out. But we are back, guys. So thank you guys for being patient with me. Today, we are going to be talking about Madeline Soto. So if you guys are interested, please keep listening. And if you guys love true crime, conspiracy theories, and gossip, please consider subscribing and also rating this podcast. If you guys prefer to listen to this on YouTube, it is on my YouTube channel as well, Ash Too Trippy, where I also have a lot of other videos that I've made in regards to Madeline Soto and a lot of other true crime cases. So go and check it out. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, Madeline or Maddie Soto was a 13-year-old girl from Kissimmee, Florida, whose life ended in February of 2024 in the most heartbreaking and unimaginable way. I just want to give a content warning. This story contains graphic discussions of child abuse, grooming, and homicide. Please listen with care, and if you guys are triggered by any of those subjects, please move on and listen to a different podcast. I have numerous different ones, including conspiracy theories that aren't really too deep, so go and check it out. Now, before we get into all of this crime and timelines and exactly what happened, I want to give you some information on Madeline Soto, or as everybody close to her called her, Maddie. She was born in February of 2011. She was creative, soft-spoken, and imaginative. She journaled, doodled, loved music, and sometimes dreamed about living away from the chaos of people, retreating into the woods as if she longed for a safety in nature. Her friends and teachers at Hunters Creek Middle School, where she attended, described her as gentle, empathetic, and the kind of kid who noticed if someone else was left out. Her father, Tyler Wallace, who lived in Texas, kept in touch online and adored her from afar. But living with her mother, Jennifer Soto, and Jennifer's boyfriend, Stephen Stearns, Maddie's quiet nature masked a secret: years of grooming and abuse. Now, Madeline was a shining star in her community. She had numerous friends, family members, and people that loved her. And this has been something that has affected me because it is evident that a lot of people actually did not pay attention to what this girl was crying out for help for. Now, let's start the night before she vanished, which was February 25th, 2024. The night before she vanished, she was ordinary to anyone on the outside. Stearns was in the home. Maddie was preparing for another school week. But hidden in Stearns' phone was evidence of years of sexual abuse, thousands of images and videos, and internet searches that revealed premeditation. On February 25th, Stearns searched for the drug cefaloflurane, an anesthetic, and whether it would show up on a drug test. He was planning control. He was preparing domination. That night, Maddie went to bed in the same house as her abuser, unaware it would be her last. Now, the night before, and we'll talk a little bit more about that here. The night before the disappearance, I want to let you guys know this was her birthday weekend. She had just turned 13. And so she was at a birthday party that night before. Stephen Stearns was in the home to watch her because her mother had just started a new job, which was at night, and she wasn't available to get her ready for school. So she asked Stearns to come over and do that. Now, a lot of people say that this is something that Jennifer Soto knew. And in my opinion, it is true that she did know about what was taking place, or at least to the extent that it could take place. Because as a mother, you don't just randomly say, hey, can you take care of my daughter, to somebody that you've been off and on dating for years, and when you actually have family that can do it. She had a mother, she had her stepfather, Jennifer, and then she also had sisters, she had cousins. Madeline had tons of people around her. And actually, that night and a few nights prior, she had told her grandmother and actually cried and said she did not want to go with Stephen Stearns. So there was red flags that were in their faces that they just completely ignored, in my opinion. So this is the morning of the disappearance, which would be February 26, 2024. From 6:30 to 7:30 a.m., the day began like any other Monday. Kids were supposed to be heading to school, but Stearns' movements told another story. At 7:35 a.m., surveillance cameras caught Stearns near their Kissimmee apartment complex. He wasn't taking Maddie to school. Instead, he was disposing of her backpack and school-issued laptop in a dumpster. This was his first attempt to erase her trail. At 8:19 a.m., cameras captured his vehicle again, this time with the passenger seat showing that investigators later said was a limp, lifeless body of Madeline Soto. At the exact hour, teachers at Hunters Creek Middle School noted Maddie's absence. For them, it was unusual, but not alarming. For her family, it would have been terrifying. For her family, it should have been terrifying. But instead of calling for help, Stearns doubled down on his lies. So I just want to preface this by saying that, this is something that I don't know if this school district has it, but I know my son's school district has it. Both of my sons, is if they are absent for class, the parents get notified immediately. And I'm assuming in a middle school, you would have multiple classes that are missed, that you would get notifications. I don't know if that's how it works in Florida, but I'm just giving you kind of an example of how it works here, and that would be extremely concerning. Now, the video surveillance that was captured later, the backpack and the laptop was found in the dumpster along with her Croc shoe, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Now, this is the afternoon into the evening of February 26th. By midday, Maddie's mother, Jennifer Soto, was trying to piece together why her daughter hadn't arrived at school. When Maddie didn't return home that evening, Jennifer reported her missing. She told police that Stearns had dropped her off at a nearby church, not at school, because Maddie was embarrassed about his car. The story collapsed almost instantly. Surveillance footage from the school and surrounding areas showed no sign of Maddie or Stearns. By nightfall, panic spread. Social media posts circulated her photo. An Amber Alert was prepared. What looked at first like a missing child case was already unraveling into something extremely more darker. So during these first hours of Madeline being missing is when we get the news and interviews from Jennifer Soto and Stephen Stearns, where they're crying, where they're shaking, where their words are just very inconsistent. This is also one where you see Stephen kind of creepily in the back, walking back and forth when she's on a live broadcast with a news station. And it's very telling on how they acted. I've been working on the Emmanuel Haro case out in San Bernardino County. That's happening right now. The parents just got charged and they're waiting to see how they plea. But I was saying in that case too, these parents went on to the police and said this, and I'm kind of surprised in this case that Jennifer Soto still hasn't been even seen in the public, because ever since this happened, that was the last time we seen Jennifer Soto. She interviewed with police. She was given a partial immunity to speak what she needed to, and she didn't really say much. She did say some things, and we'll probably get to it here in a little bit, but it's kind of the way things started out. It's very telling. We also find out that Madeline wasn't in Stefan's car. So Stefan had his father's car. He was actually in Jennifer's car. That was a newer car. So there was no reason for Madeline to be embarrassed in being in this car, because it was not the car that she was normally embarrassed in. Now, this is when we start seeing cracks in the story. This is February 27th, the next day, 2024. The very next day, February 27th, police began comparing Jennifer and Stern's statements against digital and camera evidence. Stearns claimed he drove Maddie to school. Cameras showed otherwise. Stern's phone had been factory reset that same morning, actually twice. He did reset it. His car was caught on video making suspicious stops. So he was stopping like on the road. He claims he changed a tire, which turned out to be true, but what were the motives behind it? Meanwhile, Jennifer maintained her belief in Stearns. She told detectives that he was like a father figure to Maddie, that he even slept in the same bed with her and Maddie for comfort. What she framed as closeness, investigators saw as grooming. So Jennifer was basically saying that Stearns was their comfort. Madeline slept with him as her comfort. That was her comfort blanket. That was somebody that she was comfortable with. But little did, and I don't believe that she didn't know. I think she just was blinded to the fact that this was not like a daughter father type of thing. This was more like a predator type of thing. And she said it herself. She was always scared of it turning into that. And I think her fears were put to the side because she didn't want to seem like she was crazy. Or maybe Stearns even made her seem like she was crazy at some point in time. And she just kind of was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do it. Because we know from Jennifer Soto, if you guys have watched any YouTube videos on, they dug up her online journals and her social media accounts she had even before she had Madeline, and girl is unstable. She did have childhood trauma. Her mother didn't seem like a very good mother. She didn't really know who her real father was, and we're talking about Jennifer Soto here, so it's no excuse. But she's very unstable. Somebody that probably shouldn't have had a kid, much less a daughter, to begin with, in my opinion, of course. Now, by February 28th, Stearns was no longer just suspicious, he was cornered. Police recovered the disposed backpack and laptop. They dug into his phone's hidden files and discovered 1,700 explicit images and videos, many involving Maddie herself. So this wasn't something he was just downloading. These were stuff he was recording. That day, Stearns was arrested, not yet for murder, but on charges of sexual battery of a child and possession of child sexual abuse material. For investigators, this confirmed the worst. Maddie wasn't just missing, she had likely been silenced forever. So finding this information, Stefan Stearns agreed for the police to take his device. He had notified him, he had reset it, he didn't know what he was doing, and basically he tried to erase everything on his phone and put some of the stuff he put into a Google Drive, or maybe he had already saved it there before. I don't really know. But that's how they found it. They were able to recover anything that was deleted from the phone, and they were able to book him on these sexual battery charges. So this was something that was huge for the case, and this was something that kind of broke it open to know the motive behind why exactly he was doing this. Because in the beginning, people were like, okay, well, we hear these stories, she's missing, and he's disposing of her belongings. So what does this mean? And I'm sure once they found this, they just already knew. There was no kind of going back to it. Now, on March 1st of 2024, 5 days after she was reported missing, search teams found Maddie's body in a wooded area near St. Cloud, Florida. She was still wearing the socks she'd left home in, immaculately clean. Investigators said that proved she hadn't walked there on her own, she had been carried. The medical examiner confirmed she died from strangulation. Her hyoid bone was fractured. The community's worst fear had come true. Maddie was not missing, she was gone. So they found Madeline's body in St. Cloud, Florida, and they found her behind a fence. So there was like a little fence, and then there was another bigger fence in this area. And they are basically saying that most likely the gates were open while he was dumping her body, because you can't really get over it. And if you've seen Stephen Stearns, he's not really an athletic guy. He's kind of like a nerdy dude. You would know he wouldn't be able to jump over, especially carrying Madeline's body. Madeline was a 13-year-old little girl. She probably weighed 80 to 100 pounds, if not more or less, you know. So there was no way that was possible. And like I said before, they did find a crock in the dumpster where he dumped her backpack and her school issued laptop, but she was wearing the other crock. So she had socks on, but she was wearing one crock. So this showed that she did not walk anywhere. And honestly, I've always questioned, did he actually even like redress her, or was she wearing the same stuff? Now we have to remember, in Florida, they do protect their minors there, so we don't have a lot of information. We won't ever get crime scene photos, anything like that, because again, she is a minor, and that's stuff that they do not release. Now, after her body was found, prosecutors escalated charges against Stearns. On April 24th of 2024, Stearns was charged with first-degree premeditated murder. Alongside this, 60 additional counts of sexual abuse and exploitation were filed, 8 counts of sexual battery on a child under 12, 5 counts of sexual battery on a child 12 to 18, 7 counts of lewd molestation, 40 counts of possession of sexual abuse content. The case was airtight, yet the horror of what had been hidden in plain sight has rattled the community. Now, more than a year later, on July 21st, 2025, Stearns stood before a judge facing the death penalty. And as a coward, we know he took a plea deal. He pleaded no contest to murder and guilty to all 60 sexual charges. The sentence was 21 concurrent life sentences with no possibility of parole. In court, Madeline's father, Tyler, spoke directly to Stearns, stating, "Because of the actions of this deprived man, I will never meet the woman she was becoming. You stole her future." The courtroom wept with him. Now, I want to preface this by saying that Jennifer Soto has not been present for any court dates, for any interviews, for any kind of anything. She did have family in the courtroom. An aunt, I believe 2 aunts spoke, a friend. I think there was also the grandma that spoke for this plea hearing. But Jennifer was not there. She did not give anybody a letter to read. We have heard nothing from Jennifer Soto. And a lot of people think that Jennifer Soto should be charged in this case. And I feel that way too, at least for knowingly having this man in her home and knowingly letting her daughter sleep with this man. Not only sleep in their bed, but also in his bed that was upstairs in a room that he rented from Jennifer Soto that had a lock on it. Yes. So she knew that there was no question about if she knew or not. Now, a lot of people speculate that Jennifer Soto is in a mental holding facility. That has never been proven to be true. I really just think that she's severely traumatized. She had already had problems before. I'm sure she has double the problems now. It wouldn't surprise me if she did institutionalize herself, honestly. It really wouldn't, considering the stuff that has come out about her as far as past relationships, the way she felt, the way she was with Madeline's father, Tyler, and all of that stuff. So, it's kind of very telling, in my opinion, honestly, that she hasn't been coming out. And to me, it just shows that, honestly, she doesn't care about her daughter. That's what it shows the whole public. And no matter what her family is telling her, I want her to know specifically she's a piece of shit. And she needs to speak up for her daughter. She needs to speak up for not only her daughter, but also for all the other children that deal with this, because she can be a voice. But instead, she decides to stay silent, completely silent. Like, we have not seen her, not heard her, anything. And if you live in the Florida area, keep an eye out for her, because honestly, I think this woman needs to be held accountable. And I don't know, just as a mother, it doesn't sit well with me. So if you know anything about Jennifer Soto, definitely let me know, because we need to keep her accountable for the actions that she put her daughter through. So, where are the blurred lines with Madeline's case? The line between trust and danger. Stearns positioned himself as a caregiver while secretly exploiting and destroying not only Madeline, but also Jennifer, because we have to remember that they were in a relationship. I'm sure he broke her down into thinking that this was normal. There's also a line between protection and failure. Did Jennifer miss the signs or choose not to see them? Like I said, did she not see those signs of her daughter displaying that she didn't want to be around Stefan? Or did she just ignore them? Did she just think it was normal, quote unquote, teenage behavior? There's also the line between justice and prevention. Stearns will never be free again, but Maddie's life can't be restored. So, I mean, there was justice. He's serving a concurrent life sentence with no opportunity for parole. Awesome, great. And we can only hope what the judicial system will do on the inside to him. But she will never be back. Now, the community of people, including her classmates, had came together a few right after she was dead, and they did memorials. They came together and they did a bench in her honor, and I was actually able to donate to that. I have a Justice for Madeline Soto shirt that I wear very often now, and I think that people need to be aware of it. People need to be persistent in protecting not only all of our children, but especially our girls, because this is our future that we're holding. And I think that if you're a mother and you're a mother to a girl specifically, but also unfortunately it's happening to boys as well, be diligent and don't let them go with anybody. Don't let them be around anybody. Even if you think you can trust them, you probably can't. And unfortunately, that's the world we live in today. Now, Madeline was not just a victim. She was a child who loved music, art, and laughter. Her story should remind us that silence can be deadly, and that the blurred lines of trust can hide predators in plain sight. I'm Ash Too Trippy, and this is Blurred Lines. Stay curious, stay passionate, and remember, when it comes to protecting the vulnerable, there is no blurred lines. Till next time, guys. Bye.